Welcome to Raw Dogging Reality. That's going to be the theme song, I think. Um, Today is going to be about becoming a grower, not a shower. And I'm going to talk about being a grower, not a shower in real time. And I'm not talking about penis. Um, I have this thing that's coming up inside me since doing the YouTubes of being kind of terrified what people think about me. I mean, I generally compared to the rest of the population, I really don't care much. Otherwise, I wouldn't be talking about recovery, spirituality, um, and my own struggles out loud. But I still care because I'm human. I care a lot, actually, what people think about me. And so, what's come up for me since starting to do the YouTubes, which is different than when I was doing my play and I got to be like a cool artist. Since doing the YouTubes, it's like I'm pitching my tent as a spiritual guy, like recovery guy, like addiction guy. And that doesn't really go with the image I have of myself that I'm trying to maintain of being badass, kind of like, which I associate with sex and drugs and I guess booze a little bit, and just like tattoos and like, not like, well, this is how you love your inner child. So this is a real challenge for me to come off as an inner child lover, tree hugging, you know, recovery, self help, spiritual guy. And there's certain people I've kind of tried to hide that identity from. There's some people in my family who I'm worried about seeing this, maybe because they drink, and I'm like, I don't want them to think of me as the hall monitor, because I don't care if people drink. I'm just talking about my experience. Or there's people I went to high school with who I used to be kind of wild badass, and now I'm like this kind of nerd talking about how to love yourself or love reality. Or there's my mom and her intellectual friends who sip on wine. There's a bunch of different types, even like the plant medicine types who I want to be like, I'm in recovery, but I'm still a cool like plant medicine type of guy. Or for years I was in sexual recovery, but I was like, but I'm still a kinky, weird, cuckold freak. Um, no, I don't do that since getting married, but like we were doing some weird group sex type situations for a while. So I was like, still have good stories, guys. I still have good stories. I'm still a wild motherfucker. Because in high school, I really needed to be a wild motherfucker. And I thought that's why I was getting uh, love and attachment, healthy attachment and approval. And now, luckily, I've matured a little bit. I don't need to do stupid shit to get attention and approval. And it's like this core dilemma arises. This is, I think, Gabor Mate says this. It's like the desire for authenticity and the desire for attachment, like being accepted by by the tribe, and they're in conflict. So, what am I going to choose? Well, if I did a play about my penis, the three penises who lived in my head, dickhead, and I knew that everyone wasn't going to like that, but I still got a lot of positive validation for that. This is more like a different thing where I'm like, all right, so I'm like a self love nerd, spirituality nerd. Um, that means I might not get that attachment I yearned for from certain family members. Like even my dad, who's been dead for almost 6 years, he I didn't want to be in recovery. I didn't want to be in AA. I wanted to drink with him because I wanted to keep that attachment. I knew alcohol was very important to him. And luckily, his 100th birthday was February 4th of this year, and that's when I stopped drinking because I randomly went to an AA meeting that day, and then my sister texted me, today's dad's 100th birthday. And I was like, whoa, it is aligned. He was saying to me, like, it's okay to be sober, bud, and into this, even though I didn't have that capacity and I was from another generation where everyone drank every night. But, just worried about my nephews judging me. That's kind of like worry about my attachment to my dad or my brother who passed away, who's their father. I'm worried about, you know, my plant medicine friends, Dimitri. If you're watching this, I don't really care about your opinion, but I do. He's kind of like an older brother figure. And the point of this story is you have your version of this, and it's hard to choose authenticity over attachment because we all care what other people think about. I want, for some reason, people who are younger than me in high school to think that I'm a badass still. I need to be on, I have some idealized self vision that I need to maintain. And that this outing myself as a raw dogging reality type of guy it's a challenge to that. So that's why I call this grower, not a shower. I'm basically growing, in other words, rather than showing that I'm a cool badass that I think is how I have to present. There's two versions of that. One is this badass, attention-seeking, sexual, wild guy, maybe some drugs in there. And the other type is an artist, like a badass artist, because I went to a high school, famous artist kids. You were supposed to be a striving, successful, famous person, and I could have been a contender syndrome about that. Like, oh, I should actually be doing stand-up comedy or writing right now. I'm not talking about Byron Katie and Matt Kahn and non-duality, and like I should be somehow more bohemian and less of like a coachy, entrepreneurial, spiritual guy, even though this is what's giving me peace of mind in my daily life and groundedness and love, and that's, I think, what we're all looking for. And yeah, sometimes it is a little lame. I judge it too. Like, I judge that whole world because it is lame. And I don't really care. Doing the best I can. We're all just doing the best I can. We're all doing the best we can, swimming through all the weeds. Do you swim through weeds? You do if you're a fish. And there's a lot of weeds, like sea weeds. And with that, I'll end this talk. Be a grower, not a shower. Face that core dilemma. Make the right decision. Subscribe to my YouTube. My men's coaching practice is up and thriving. If you want to thrive with me, Sir David Cash. That's terrible. I'm going to try and remember the theme song, though. Toodaloo. Toodaloo. Sopranos reference.